Hello, once again, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks for joining me. We got a lot of weather to talk about. I want to start by talking about the lake breeze again. This is the time of the year in May and June when we get the most significant lake breeze across the area. And that's a picture we took from yesterday. That's the Friends Goodwill, which is an early 1800s ship that's been refurbished by the Maritime Museum there at South Haven. And you can go for a ride on it. It looks like there were a lot of people out on that. They put the sails out. I believe the boat is a sloop. If you remember the song Sloop John B. by the Beach Boys, pretty similar here, but really an interesting story. And you can go online and read more about it. Again, this is the Friends Goodwill in the South Haven Channel Sunday afternoon. High temperatures, 80 degrees for Grand Rapids and Cadillac. But look at the temperatures at the lakeshore. The difference there was, it was 65 at the Muskegon Pier and 65 at the South Haven Pier. In fact, both of those areas, the temperature was only around 60 much of the afternoon. So cold Lake Michigan making a big difference at this time of year. We'll take a look at the lake forecast here for the day today. By the way, look at all the boats in the Muskegon Channel, and you can't see it here, but the Lake Express ferry was coming the other way toward these boats that were moving east. So that was interesting. Winds here on Monday should be out of the west, 10 to 15 knots, probably closer to the 15 knots for a while during the afternoon. So the lake gets a little bit of a chop to it. By the way, at the buoy at Muskegon, the waves went absolutely dead calm. And it's very seldom you see that, especially on a summer weekend day, because normally there's enough boats going by, even out at the buoy, to keep the lake just a bit churned up, but it was just like glass out there. But anyhow, waves should be back up to around 1 to 3 feet, and temperatures should be in the mid-60s during the afternoon. That's about the same as we were here during the day on Sunday. Water temperatures, Grand Haven, chilly 50, Saugatuck 53. Hoffmaster's been running a couple degrees warmer than everybody else, and they were at 60. And if you like warmer weather or warmer water, try one of the inland lakes. Reed's Lake was up at 71 when I checked in on the gauge there Sunday afternoon. And again, that's a picture of the Muskegon Channel right there. A lot of boats going in and out and enjoying the day. All right, the fire weather update here. We have some thin smoke out there, but no alerts in effect for Michigan. I want to give you a little update again. I've been checking the wildfire situation up in Manitoba, because next time we get a north wind, that's going to probably drag some more smoke down here. But we continue with 28 significant fires. 7 are out of control. It was 8 out of control yesterday. So they have brought 1 fire under control. If you're looking for some good news, I guess that's some good news. 180 firefighters, that's up quite a bit from Saturday. 4 water bombers, they had 6, but 4 are still working, and they're up to 43 helicopters, 3 other aircraft, and the other aircraft are generally chemical droppers. You know, you've seen the planes go by and they drop that orange powder or whatever. So there's a pretty good effort going on to contain those fires up there in southern Canada. No hurricanes in the northern hemisphere yet, but we have 2 new tropical storms, and look how close they are. That's not a situation that's going to last for very long. Normally when there's 2 tropical storms that form close to each other like that, eventually one takes over from the other, and one either fades out or gets absorbed. In terms of Barbara's going to scoot off toward the northwest. All the strong winds will miss the coastal areas there. But Barbara will eventually perhaps become a very minimal hurricane. Now, we've had no hurricanes through June the 8th in the northern hemisphere, and that's the first time in the satellite era, which is since 1973, that has ever happened. It's been unusually quiet out there. Cosme probably won't make it to hurricane status. It'll probably drift off toward the north and lose out, and Barbara probably won't get very far either. The water up by the Baja of California is a couple degrees cooler than it was last year, so I would suspect these tropical storms will weaken eventually as they get up closer to the land up there by Cabo San Lucas, that area there. All right, we're going to take a little time out now and thank our sponsors. Here's Michelle.
Special thanks to Complete Care Concierge LLC, the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service serving all of West Michigan, residential and commercial cleaning services. They can clean once, they can clean on a repeated basis, they even clean on the weekends. 616-264-1397. We'll put that phone number in the show notes, and here's a word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
And if you're interested in handyman services, call Ace. Here's a look at our headlines. There will be a chance for a brief shower or thunder shower here this Monday afternoon. A lot of places won't see any rain at all, but there will be a scattering of those around, and some places could use the rain around here. Grand Rapids is about 3.5 inches shy in terms of precipitation since January 1. Seasonable temperatures, most of the afternoons will be in the 70s, and the humidity not terribly high. Dry weather for midweek. If you're looking for a day to spend outside with a 0% chance of rain, I would pick Wednesday. And Wednesday, we should be back up above 80 degrees in the afternoon. Thursday also, but I put the word inland there in parentheses because temperatures will be cooler than that at Lake Michigan, likely both Wednesday and on Thursday. Taking a look right now at our sunrise and sunset time. We're at the earliest sunrise of the year at 6:03. And we'll stay at 6:03 here for most of the coming week before it starts back the other way. Sunset will eventually get to 9:25, and the longest day is the summer solstice. That is June the 20th. Average high temperature is up to 78 degrees. Well, let's take a look right now at some severe weather prognostications. There was a lot of severe weather here on Sunday. Over 300 weather reports, and they were still coming in, including some wind gusts up close to 90 miles an hour down toward Oklahoma. So that was interesting. There were actually a couple of minor wind damage reports from Chicago and near South Bend. So that came fairly close, but most of us here in Michigan didn't see anything in the way of even lightning or thunder. Big slight risk area covers most all of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. And you can see that little arm extending all the way up into parts of southwest New York and western Pennsylvania. Another little slight risk area is out there again, same area, New Mexico into parts of West Texas. We're in the light green, which means there is a chance of a shower or thunder shower, but not severe here in lower Michigan. And we'll move ahead a day now to Tuesday, and here the threat level goes down just to level 1. There are 3 marginal areas. I'll go left to right. The one is up in Montana, where there'll be some gusty winds with some thunderstorms there. And again, same area from New Mexico through Texas and along the Gulf Coast, and from Georgia up toward New Jersey. No thunderstorms expected Tuesday or Wednesday in the state of Michigan. So that's good news if you got some outdoor activities planned. Well, look at how much rain we expect here across the country. And again, boy, look at Texas. Wow, that's a large area that's going to see 1.5 inches of rain over a 3-day period. And you can see along the Rio Grande River, and that should be climbing up to fairly high levels. A lot of rain expected in places like New Orleans, Pensacola, Florida. A little bit of 1.5 inches rainfall up there toward Lake Ontario. We have a little bit of rainfall for Michigan here, mostly Monday afternoon. And if we go to the zoomed in map for Michigan here, you'll be able to see that it's anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to about 1/4 of an inch. So it's not a lot of rain. There may be a little bit more down toward the Indiana border and up toward Alpena, but we'll take what rain we can get. And again, this Monday afternoon, the possibility of an isolated shower or a thunder shower. Taking a look at the forecast for today, mid-70s here. Will be a couple degrees cooler than yesterday. There is that chance of a shower or thunder shower during the afternoon. Partly cloudy skies here during the day or during the overnight period. Humidity drops to 50%. There's not a lot of moisture in the air, so that's why we're not anticipating any real heavy rainfall amounts here. Winds west at 10 to 15, and like I said, it may be closer to the 15 for a while during the mid to late afternoon, so it may get a touch breezy here. High temperatures on the day, we're looking for readings to make it up into the mid-70s, about 10 degrees cooler right at the beaches, about 65 there for South Haven. Ludington Airport at 69. Out over the open water, 58 to 60. And you can see it's a little cooler across the lake. Temperatures much of the day only in the 60s in Wisconsin. And up across the UP, you can see a little bit there. Look at the temperatures out over the open water. Lake Superior is really cold. And you can see temperatures there during the afternoon, only in the mid 40s if you're out over the water. I had an uncle who used to go fishing in the spring up on Lake Superior. They would catch some nice fish, but he would talk about how cold it was out there in early summer over the water. All right, on to Tuesday. I'll be able to show you that the temperatures are a couple degrees cooler, 72, very pleasant readings. 64 for South Haven. Starts to warm up on the other side of the lake, and we'll see some of that warmer air move in here for Wednesday and on Thursday. Look at the long range forecast now out to Friday. We're looking for a chance of a shower or thunderstorm today. I've got a 20% chance of a shower in for Tuesday. We may take that down to 10%. It really looks dry for most of us. Wednesday looks sunny and beautiful and cool in the morning at 55, but up to around 80 in the afternoon. And we'll be close to 80 here Thursday and Friday. So we call those Goldilocks temperatures. Not too hot, not too cool. Cools off at night. If you'd like to open the windows, a lot of people have air conditioning now, as opposed to back when I was a kid. We used to leave the windows open and run and close them if we heard the thunder coming. All right, 8 to 14 day outlook is in. Near normal temperatures for us for the period June 16th through the 22nd. And heats up again out in the Rockies. Phoenix will be cooking, and Florida as well. But some of the nicest weather in the country should be over the Great Lakes and New England and the Northeast. So that's interesting. In terms of rainfall, a lot of green on the rainfall map, and we may see some heavier rainfall in places there. But it certainly looks like if we can go to that rainfall map that we'll be able to show you that anywhere from near to slightly above average rainfall expected here. Dry out in the western United States, as is often the case, but many areas in the country are seeing some significant rains, especially the southern plains. The rains are in the plains. I think she's got it. What you got for us, Michelle?
First of all, congratulations to East Grand Rapids for winning the state title in boys lacrosse. They defeated Detroit Country Day in the finals and Forest Hills Northern on the way there. So congratulations to them, and lots more MHSAA finals to take place in the next handful of days.
Yeah, school has ended for some people, but lacrosse continues to go on. And that's an interesting game. We didn't have much of that going on back when I was a kid. It was Little League and Boy Scouts if you were a guy. And didn't make a high school team. I went to a high school with over 4,000 students, so it was not easy to make the football team or the tennis team or the swim team or something like that. But congratulations, East Grand Rapids.
At Baptist, it was like, hey, want to try out for soccer? Congratulations, you already made the team.
It happens in small schools. It really does, but that was not the case. I did try out for the golf team back when I knew nothing about how to play golf, so I shot a lot better than I would today. But that was fun. The only reason I went to tryouts is I got to play golf for free at the local public course. If you wanted to try out for the team, you got to play free. That's the only reason I went. But it was a really crummy day, and actually I was a caddy, so I knew how to play in crummy weather, where some of the country club kids didn't fare so well that day. But I never played in a match, but I was technically on the team for a semester. It was my junior year.
Speaking of East Grand Rapids, concerts in the park. There is one June 9. Cold Leather Seats, which is a West Michigan band at Johns Collins Park. Bring a lawn chair if you want to hear the cold leather seats. And that is not a description of your lawn chair, unless your lawn chair happens to be a cold leather seat. It's the band that's going to be performing.
They ought to play in winter. They ought to do like an outdoor concert that we go to LMCU ballpark or something like that. We could have some cold leather seats for you. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of the towns do concerts on specific nights. And if you're looking for some musical talent, maybe have a picnic you want to take part in, head to one of these concerts. I know in Holland, the American Legion Band starts up here, and they will be playing every Tuesday in Collin Park.
And the Miss Michigan competition gets underway this week in Muskegon, Michigan. The candidates will start arriving June 9, and the competition starts on Thursday. And the finals are on Saturday. There are 22 candidates.
Wow, I knew a couple of Miss Michigans, and they were very pleasant, and I wish them the best.
And I was reading about their program, and they provide a scholarship to every single one of the participants in the Miss Michigan pageant. So even if you finish last, they give you a scholarship.
Wow, I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Monopoly.
Beauty contest quiz in Monopoly. If you receive the community chest card that says you have won second prize in a beauty contest, how much do you collect from the bank?
Oh, golly. Man, I never collected anything from a bank, believe it or not. I will guess $10.
It is a disappointing amount. It is $10. It is rough being in second place. I wonder what the first person gets. We'll never know.
Interesting.
June 9, 1893, Ford's Theater collapsed in Washington, D.C., and I had never heard that this happened.
No, I didn't either.
A support pillar was compromised during excavation work. It wasn't being used as a theater at the time, but it was a government building, and it was staffed with people who were handling war records and pensions, and 22 people died in the collapse. It affected 3 stories.
At the Ford Theater?
Mm-hmm.
That's the John Wilkes Booth, Abraham Lincoln Ford Theater, right?
Mm-hmm. And Ford was the name of the person who was the manager of the theater.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Interesting.
Today, it's owned by the National Park Service, and you can sign up for a tour, and they also do plays a handful of times a year.
Oh, that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's nice to see it's still in use.
Mm-hmm. June 9 is National Heroes Day in this African country. It is where Mormon missionaries Elder Price and Elder Cunningham were sent in the musical The Book of Mormon. It shares Lake Victoria, the world's second largest freshwater lake by surface area. Uh-oh, we've been interrupted by a kitty.
I've been interrupted by a cat who just jumped on my computer. Kitty, you want to say hi to everybody while you're here?
Oh, oh no.
That's her best side. She's showing off. I don't know if I can get you back to that here. Let me see. You got me again?
Yeah, you're still here. Okay. This country is
Welcome
where
to spontaneous.
Mormon missionaries Elder Price and Elder Cunningham were sent in the musical The Book of Mormon. It shares Lake Victoria, the world's second largest freshwater lake by surface area. Superior is first, with neighbors Tanzania and Kenya.
I will guess Uganda. Not Meganda, but Uganda.
Uganda, very good. And that's a Ugandan giraffe.
I have a degree in geography as well, so I should be pretty good at catching those countries like that.
You know, one of my favorite shows growing up was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? And if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know the show on PBS. And at the very end, the kid who was the last one and still in it could win a trip anywhere in the U.S., which I love traveling, so that was awesome. And they would pick one of the continents or the 50 states, and they had to be able to put 7 locations correctly on the map.
Wow. And
Africa was so hard. And yeah, it was a whole thing. They had to be so fast.
Yeah, Africa is, you know, and if you're thinking about in North America has what, like 20 countries, but a lot of them are islands in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
That are separate. I mean, you have the Cayman Islands down there, and Aruba, all that. Yeah, some are still. Oh, look at that's a pretty picture.
Mm-hmm. And that's Point Betsy from last Friday.
Well, that's really interesting. That we're looking through a layer of smoke, but not a super thick layer of smoke. I can't tell by looking at this if that in the distance would be some high clouds that the sun is setting into, or just the smoke layer. It may very well be the smoke layer. But what a beautiful picture. Fred, thanks for sending that along. And that looks like a smoke picture too, from John Scully.
Mm-hmm.
That is let's see. You can see the flag showing a north wind, it looks like, and the north wind would be bringing down the smoke from from down in Canada. Nice place to walk right there, by the way. Interesting. Well, we've reached the end of our show for today. I want to thank all of you for hanging with us here until the end. And I hope you enjoyed the cameo visit from the best side of my cat. That was Ellie Lou, who's a very friendly cat and wanted to come up here and see what was going on. But she wishes you a happy day, and I do too.